health cover is not really labeled as what an employee should buy versus what an employer should buy. The fact of the matter is that everybody should be covered as families, even if they have some pre-medical existing challenges, or even if they don't have any medical issues currently at hand, they should go buy a cover. So typically for this entrepreneur itself, depending upon what he or she wants to uh, get covered as features. Let's say they want to have OPD coverages, they want to have maternity covers, depending on what their requirement is, or even for that sake, international coverages. If somebody wants to go out and is on constantly on the go, and he or she requires international covers because all the other employees are based out of India, let's say. So in this case, it can be tweaked to fit that piece. Again, goes with the same philosophy that they should have a bare minimum or a mid-range base cover and should jack it up by as much as 50 lakhs, 1 crore, 2 crores as a cover on the top. It may sound very high at this point in time as we're talking on it, but this is the kind of coverages they should have, because typically the coverages are not planned for a day or two. They should be planned keeping a minimum 20 years or 30 years horizon in picture. If a normal surgeries is costing, let's say a heart ailment is costing about 10, 12 lakh rupees even today, we should expect about 30, 35 lakh rupees of such a surgery happening post 10 years of from now or 15 years from now. So one has to be deciding like that. Laying the foundation of health covers of his or her family, he should follow some quick steps to estimate what is the kind of coverage that he or she should have. First, this person who's planning the health coverage for his or her own family first should see that whether his current employer or her current employer offers that bare minimum coverages or not. Having said that, I'm not really a true fan of employer given health insurances. I'll tell you why. There are enough reasons why people discard those employer given policies, because those are only for very, very exigency driven cases. There is something struck for which a person was not really planned well in terms of health coverages, and he or she has to fall back on those employer coverages only. Typically, those coverages don't really have things like a floater cover, which are additional coverages. They don't cover them for extra features like maternity or maternity with child vaccinations if somebody is planning maternity, or if it comes to daycare procedures, they are very limited because daycare procedures are more than 500 plus now, and these corporate covers actually plan about 50 or 40 or daycare coverages. Daycare coverages are like coverages for which you don't need 24 hours plus of hospitalization. Typically, let's say dialysis, let's say chemotherapies of the world, oral chemos, which are typically a 3 hour, 3.5 hour session, for which you don't need any hospitalizations beyond 24 hours. Hence, the corporate policy generally not really, I'm completely condemning those policies, but then they are not really featurally very, very good. So this person who is planning this first should look at the retail policies also, assessing what is the coverage that they already have from the corporate. The second piece is that they should go with an additional base cover outside. For example, let's say their company currently offers them a 10 lakhs cover from the corporate, but they realize that outside there is no cover at all. They should plan another 5 or 10 lakhs of a cover, let's say for a family of 4, a husband and a wife and 2 children. And he or she should take about 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs of cover. In total, that makes it about 5-10 lakhs in the private retail space, and about 10 lakh rupees is what they have, let's say, from their employer, which is about 20 lakhs of base cover. Now this becomes the bare minimum. Now, as I talked about, top-up covers, which are fantastic covers out in the market in India, and you'll hardly find not more than 1 or 2 or 3% people who know about them, that they can substantially bring up the cover value of their health covers by adding these top-up covers. Now they should, at the third step, besides implementing the basic base private cover outside, they should top up another top-up cover, let's say of 50 lakh rupees. So for a family of 4 sitting in any metro currently, or even for that sake off metro, because they will look at metros for their medical exigencies if they go through the roof. they can plan for a 40 to a 60 lakhs of a cover even today. While the way to make sure that the costing is least, they should club this up with the base cover along with the top up cover to make sure that the costing is less. By the way, let me simply put that in front of you as in a layman's term, what a top up cover, how it works actually. If you've heard of popular prepaid telecom plans, if you walk into a store, let's say in that case, let's say of a top telecom, you walk into the store, let's say as an example, Airtel store, just an example, an analogy trying to drive that. You walk into the store and you have a 999 rupees plan that gives you 1,000 minutes per month as the talk time, but you realize that I have to use additional talk time. So you walk into a store and you say, boss, I need a additional, let's say, 1,000 minutes to kind of make my month and do some extra sales on the phone. Not that you end up spending another 99 to take a cover for 1999 now and jack up your expenses to more to a double. So if you're talking to them, they should be able to recommend you a top up cover which comes only at about let's say 90 rupees for another 1,000 minutes. Now you may be wondering that the plan going from 1,000 minutes to 2,000 minutes, that's a base plan. Going to that level simply jacks up your expense to a double, which is 2,000 rupees versus 1,000 that you pay. And now with the top up, why? How come you just pay 90 rupees for another 1,000 minutes? Why? Because what the top ups means, Ronak, is that if you've surpassed your threshold of the base cover of, in this case, 9,000 minutes, is where the top up activates. The similar way, IRD, and thanks to them that they've been able to devise a strategy that people they understand are stuck up into a 5 lakhs cover, 3 lakhs cover, 10 lakhs cover. That's the most I hear, all across India for hundreds of people I meet on a yearly basis. And I tell them, why is that they stuck up into this? Because they say it's difficult to maintain a 50 lakhs or 100 lakhs cover, which is 1 crore cover, which is too much, but a rightly sized cover to take care of their medical exigencies, only to realize that they can even take a top up. So top up also works in a similar way. Let's say you've taken a 10 lakhs base cover in this case, and you've taken a 1 crore cover. So 10 lakhs base cover for, let's say, a family of 4 can come to about 26,000 rupees, 28,000 rupees per annum, with including GST of 18%. And now in the same respect, a 50 lakhs top up cover for the same family of 4 should not be more than 5,500, 6,000 rupees only on the higher side, which includes the 18% GST. And if you are to jump yourself from a 50 lakhs to a 1 crore cover, it should not be more than a 6,500, 7,000 rupees. That means another 1,000, 1,500 bucks put together for the whole family, brings your cover up from 50 lakhs to 1 crore. And people are amazed to see how is that it is so dirt cheap. The idea is that the idea was made in a similar way of how the telecoms function, that in case of an exigency, which can ever happen as normally, unlike, let's say, a phone plan, which you can always control your hands to see how many calls are you making a minute. I mean, per month, how many minutes are you consuming? In this case, what is running inside your body, you can never predict. So you have to make sure that you also build a top up on top. So, these 3 ways is what you can assess and see what is the minimum cover you should have. Lastly, then is where you should declare all the existing medical problems that you're having currently, for which you're eating some medicines, some tablets, if you are, and even declare since birth, actually, which is a very important point. Since birth, you have to understand what is that you've had as hospitalizations or major hospitalizations or any accidents or any illnesses, procedures. You have to clearly, kind of that in your application. Unfortunately, there are elements in the industry who don't really declare that, and hence you are subject to claim rejection. But if you work in a better way with a consulting firm like us, we are in a good position to declare everything and then make sure that you get the cover to the most of it. We've had cases in the past where people drive with the myth that if somebody has had a cancer or has a heart ailment, he or she cannot get a cover anymore. It is completely wrong. It's your right to apply for a cover through consultation and apply for it to be able to successfully get those covers. So the last step was this one, that you apply for the cover with all due diligences and just wait for the insurer to kind of approve that cover for you and just be covered from day one, starting today. Uh, so our existence in the industry into insurances, investments, or wealth products for all Indian origin in India, all Indians basically, residents, or even NRI for that sake, what we do, we operate in about 31 countries now. And right from this coast to the other, we help Indian origin who are overseas to, get their insurances, investments, and wealth planning in a structure, so that they come out winning with this. While the life covers and health covers, are fundamental pillars that have to be rock solid, so that your entire family can grow on it. So the advice for any millennial or anybody who's seeking cover would be for them to come up to us with the basic structure of their, with detailing of their families currently that they have, or even families for millennials who are trying to get married and grow their families. They can come out with their complete, kind of site on all of this path. They should come out to us with. And yes, the most they need to have is their date of births and their formal official date of births and the medical conditions that they have currently. Fortunately, in this industry, unlike a term plan that one wants to have as life cover, you don't need to have any background of the earnings that you have, because as per guidelines, even though they need requisite declaration from you in terms of what you're earning, what you are, but the most important things to declare when taking a medical cover or a mediclaim or a health cover, as we say, is the right declaration 100% for your medical conditions of the current time or the past. So you should, or this should come back to us with that, and we are in a fantastic situation condition to actually declare everything for a client and seek coverages, because a lot of times people find themselves a little demotivated if they already have a medical condition like high diabetes or diabetes with insulin or hypertension, basically BP, or their parents having arthritis or health conditions pertaining to blood or to cancer or to hepatitis, or things like even brain related problems, which are, could be mental illnesses, it could be ADHD. There are a lot of challenges that we have in every family. At times I feel that I should really find a family which has no medical issues at all, and I wish that all families are like that, but this is how nature moves on, and something or the other has to strike somebody at whatever age is right. So with this, planning becomes pertinent. So we wish people come to us with all their problems at hand, and we, as a respected advisory in the industry, whichever started their work back in 1997, with a humble start as insurances, as life covers, investments, and health insurances, have seen the industry grow till this level, and we come with about 23 years background behind us. BigRise Financial happens to be just about a 2-year-old company. We just completed 2 years in August 2022, but our history of experience dates back to 23 years plus, and we are in a fantastic condition to help any individual who comes our way. So luckily, we don't need any much paperwork in all of these things. The most you need is an Aadhaar card to start with in a health cover, and even a PAN card to start with. Yes, what is needed, and we highly recommend, is never to miss out giving your medical conditions and paperwork related to it. So it's a humble advice to the audience listening to this session, is that whatever medical backgrounds that you've had, kindly maintain a filing system in place and a file where you dock in all your medical exigencies, discharge summaries that you've had out of hospitals if you had any, because all of these will be instrument for you to secure a cover in future, or even change a cover. That's referred to as porting in the industry, moving from one cover to the other. IRD allows, permits that, and insurers permit that you could do a porting. But in the absence of paperwork of medical backgrounds, it becomes very difficult for one to kind of make the insurer believe that this is the actual case. So that's a strict recommendation that you could have. You could also write to us at info@bigrisefinance.com, or personally, you can write into my email address, which is Nitin, Nitin, @bigrise, GRISE, finance, FINANCE.com. And I'll be happy to help answer your queries in there. I hope that answers your question.